Alright, if you're watching this, you've probably been doom scrolling on your phone for the past 4 hours on TikTok with an attention span of a goldfish. But don't worry, that was me 2 years ago. Now, alhamdulillah, I'm managing this business that's doing over £2 million in sales. Alright, for now, let's just rewind a few years. I started off like any other hustler in school, selling sweets, making a decent bit of money. And if it wasn't weird for a 20-year-old to be selling sweets in school, I'd probably still be doing the same right now. But for me, it's always been about making money. Like, I have barely any passions for any other jobs. I've always wanted to do the thing that made me the most money. And that would translate to different side hustles, whether that was drop shipping, SMMA, property. I try all of these and I failed because I had shiny object syndrome. And I'd start a side hustle for like a week. I'd quit because I wouldn't see instant results and instant gratification, which then moves me on to when I went to university. I picked the degree, computer science, which is the one that would be paying me the most, but we've all seen how that's gone over the last couple of months. So alhamdulillah, I started my business. So in my final year of university, one of my friends put me on this business, which was Amazon FBA. And I started off with Arbitrage. Now, Arbitrage is where you go into retail stores, you scan items. You've probably seen a few people do that. You get the product, you sell it online. This is not really too scalable. You can make the most money from it, but you can't translate well over time. Now, the next step to this is online arbitrage, where you're essentially replicating the same concept, but you're doing it online through the online websites. Like, for example, instead of Tesco's in-store, you'd go on Tesco's website and buy it on their website. This also, it's not too scalable. However, when I locked in for 6 months, at this point, I was doing over 50K per month in sales whilst at university. Now, alhamdulillah, this is a good amount of money because as a graduate software engineer, I'd be making like £4,000 per month, £5,000 per month. That's it. I was making almost double that doing Amazon. After realizing that this wasn't the most scalable, I looked at what the next best thing was, which was wholesale. Now, wholesale is instead of buying the product from these stores, whether that's Tesco, Argos, Currys, I'd contact the brands directly, open relationships with the brands, and then buy bulk off the brand and sell it on my Amazon store. Now, this is an excellent model because, for one, it's consistent. Now, you're not really spending all day looking for products. Sometimes when you'd go into retail stores, you'd come out empty-handed because there's no guarantee that that product is going to be there. And secondly, you're not really having to do much research into the product, and you're not having to do any advertisement towards the product. Like, the brand, they have their budgets, the product is going to sell well on Amazon. So you can buy like a month's worth of stock knowing that it's going to sell and knowing that there's a guarantee that you're going to be making the money. However, the cons to this are that the margins, they're not as high as retail and online arbitrage, because with this you'll be making around 100% margin on your product. So if you're buying something for £10, you'll be making a £10 profit on it. And with online arbitrage, you're making like 40 to 60% ROIs, which is if you're buying something for £10, you're making £4 or £6 profit. However, with wholesale, the margins are considerably lower, 10 to 20%. But to counteract that, it's more consistent and you're getting guaranteed amount of money that's coming in. And you can scale that more. So once you've got the brand relationship, you can then sell all the products within that brand. So from wholesale, whilst at university, I got this to 100K per month, alhamdulillah. Now, what helped me get to 100K per month doing wholesale was, for one, having a retail store. And with the retail store, you're probably wondering, like, why do you need that when you're selling online? Well, for one, this helps you build connections up with the brand, so the brand can actually see you're doing work with the product and you're actually pushing it out there for customers in person. And the second thing is, it actually gave me a place to store my boxes. So my mum wasn't on my back at home, just constantly nagging me, Yusuf, why is there all these boxes? So that's 2 reasons. Now, while doing wholesale for 12 months, I managed to scale this to over 150K per month in revenue, which is around 20 to 30,000 pounds in profit. Okay, and you're probably thinking, look, this is a good amount of money. What can you do to get it to the next? What can you do to get it to the next level? Well, the first thing is I got this new warehouse. So, and the main purpose of this warehouse is to grow my business from 7 to 8 figures, and I'm going to document that journey on this channel. So the benefit of having a warehouse is that I can store more products and I can increase my margin on my products as well, because look, I can store more, I can buy more, and I can do the fulfillment myself. Now, we're currently in less than 9 minutes, so I'll give you a bit of free source on how I can actually contact these brands, open relationships with them without them thinking this guy's a leech, he's just an Amazon seller trying to buy my product. Look, what you have to do is position yourself to the brand. You have to come across as somebody who's actually providing value, pure hard value to the brand. For example, one thing that I would say is we have our retail store. What we do is position your product to the BAME community. For example, Asians who aren't typically used to seeing your product. All right, pause. I'm not trying to give away too much sauce for free, but for the people that are serious and are interested, then check the link in the description and book a call with me if you want to learn more.